and others. Today is Wednesday, August 12th, 2026. The time is 3:57 p.m. And I titled this one, if you can see, DiJonai Carrington was right. And here's how. Now, if we've been living under a rock for the last couple of days, we know DiJonai Carrington plays for the Chicago Sky. And she got into altercation with the Indiana Fever's Sophie Cunningham. And it was a basketball play. No matter what y'all trying to say, it was a basketball play. Right? And she was tossed from the game. DiJonai Carrington was. And after the game, she decided to tweet white privilege. She added the Indiana Fever. And that has set off a whirlwind of, oh, she's starting a race war. Oh, she's crying river. And it's either the MAGA mad hats or the raccoons that love the trash, right? And here's my thing. That, like I always say, to live in America is to be in a constant state of being gaslit. To live in America is in a constant state of being harassed and told who you gonna believe, your lying eyes or what we say, right? And in that, you have a bunch of people that's pretending they don't know what she's talking about. So I'm gonna get to it. And one particular group that I have an issue with is Emmanuel Acho and those guys over there at Speakeasy. And Emmanuel, you definitely should understand by what you, based off what you went through. You gave a Caitlin Clark tape, just a Caitlin Clark tape, and it got pretty rough for you, buddy. And let me play it.
Disability rights have been
yourself. You're gonna get hung up one of these days, bitch.
People are vile, disgusting, racist, misogynistic, and sexist, veiled as a defense of Caitlin Clark. I wake up at...
What did he say? Veiled in defense of Caitlin Clark. You play it back.
Yourself. You're gonna get hung up one of these days, bitch.
People are vile, disgusting, racist, misogynistic, and sexist, veiled as a defense of Caitlin Clark.
Veiled as a defense of Caitlin Clark. Now, let's go on. Now, what we are challenging is DiJonai Carrington saying white privilege when it's surrounding this team, right?
I wake up at 6:50 a.m. to a no-caller ID number. And this is the first time I'm listening to this voicemail.
First thing in the morning he's listening to. So this tells you what this group gets up with on their mind. You go back.
A no-caller ID number. And this is the first time I'm listening to this voicemail.
Manuel Echo, race baiting bigot.
Echo.
Man, stay out of women's basketball. You don't know fucking shit. Talking crap like that, man. Who the fuck you think you are? Think the blacks own the WNBA?
Think the blacks own the WNBA. Now what they telling DiJonai, don't make everything about race. Now, he gives a take in saying the league could be better off without Caitlin Clark. This prompts this. Right? But they're telling DiJonai Carrington, who you gonna believe? What we say or your lying eyes? Let's continue.
Fuck yourself. You're gonna get hung up one of these days, bitch.
These have been intimidation tactics used.
Think the blacks own women's basketball. You don't know fucking shit. Talking crap like that, man. Who the fuck you think you are? Think the blacks own the WNBA? Well, fuck yourself. You're gonna get hung up one of these days, bitch.
These have been intimidation tactics used by individuals that sound like him towards individuals that look like us for the course of time. Shady, the end was, you better shut the F up. You're going to get hung one of these days.
Okay.
You can't
That's
ignore.
sports. You gotta ignore. That's sports.
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying what you can.
And for Shady McCoy to say that's sports, you gotta ignore it. Right? So what y'all trying to do, and you and that beige brother on your podcast, y'all are minimizing and y'all are saying, oh, she said it was white privilege toward the officiating. No. And see, here's my thing. If you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. Flat out, simple as that. If you know, right? So they set the tone. We just getting started. They set the tone by saying, you race baiting bigot, and then go on to tell him, you're gonna get hung for your sports tape. But surely, DiJonai Carrington is making everything about race. See, what happens with these raccoons is they have to ignore. They have to spend most of their time ignoring what's happening. That's why Jason Whitlock, he has to pretend that what's going on is not going on. Stephen A. Smith, and I got a clip with him. Surprisingly, he had this stance. But Stephen A. Smith is another one that has to pretend what's going on is not actually going on. Right? So when we're talking about white privilege, and you bring race, and you saying a person needs to be lynched for their sports tape. So now let's walk into it a little bit. Racism involves an advantage because you're allowed to do this. You're allowed to take a group of people and do these things to these people with no consequence. And if they even look at you remotely in the wrong way, up against a tree or whatever we decide your fate shall be. Check? All right, let's move forward. Now, second thing I want to raise attention to, if we're talking about privilege, first we have to get a working definition. We can't just say stuff. We have to get a working definition. What is a working definition of privilege? Let me read it to you.
Privilege.
Did you hear that word? Privilege. A privilege is a special right, advantage, or immunity given to a specific person or group. It is a benefit that is not available to everyone else. The word comes from Latin words meaning a private law for one person. Right? Check. Let me read it again. A privilege is a special right, advantage, or immunity given to a specific person or group. It is a benefit that is not available to everyone else. The word comes from Latin words meaning a private law for one person, right? So I'm gonna open it up and say, in this context, this one franchise. In this context, this one, and they're adding another person in. Now this one player that is being given this special privilege would be one Caitlin Clark. But now they're starting to add Sophie Cunningham in. You know, Sophie Cunningham, who is a barely talented white girl, right? Who she got her reputation for being the enforcer. Here's another hypocrisy. That when she committed a hard foul on J.C. Sheldon, when she committed a hard foul on J.C. Sheldon, and they got into a scuffle, they both were tossed. Now, when we look at this play between her and DiJonai Carrington, similar energy. She actually makes contact, I'm going to say, hit DiJonai Carrington. And I'll tell you why I said hit DiJonai Carrington in a minute. Right? But only one player was tossed. DiJonai Carrington is not crazy. This is a Stanford graduate. She's just not some ghetto person. Because see, what the house Negroes want you to do is capitulate and behave like them. Flavorless, soulless. Yes, a mouse. No expression. Be exactly how the system wants you to be, right? So we've heard privilege. Before I go to my next level of information, I'm going to read you privilege one more time. A privilege is a special right, advantage, or immunity given to a specific person or group. It is a benefit that is not available to everyone else. It is a benefit that's what? Not available to everyone else. Meaning you get this, but we don't get this. You get this right, but we don't get this right. Check. Now, let's go into this. Now, this is one that's going to really show you the hypocrisy. Because when it's a privilege or a double standard, hypocrisy stays, is somewhere in it. Now, this is a letter that was written July 7th, 2026. What date did I give you? July 7th, 2026. And this letter is from Congress of the United States. From who? Congress of the United States. And it is titled, Kathy Engelbert, Commissioner, Women's National Basketball Association, 645 Fifth Avenue, New York, 10022. And they begin the fuckery in the letter. Dear Commissioner Engelbert, I hate, it's like the Little Rascals. Dear darling, I hate your stinking guts. But anyway, dear Commissioner Engelbert, now listen to the layout. What did I say? Privilege is about one person or a specific section. Caitlin Clark is transforming women's sports. She has inspired a new generation of young girls to participate in athletics and has become one of the most influential figures in the history of women's basketball. Who did they start off talking about? They didn't talk about the women of the league. They said Caitlin Clark is transforming sports. All right, let's continue. She is also the face of your league. That is debatable. See, this is what I mean. When they're brainwashing you, they tell you, oh, that's green right there, and it's clearly blue. And they begin to keep telling you something. Repeat it, repeat it, repeat it, repeat it. I did a video where they were showing the repetition in news channels. This is a threat to our democracy. This is a threat to our democracy. This is a threat to our democracy. And they repeated this over and over worldwide on different stations, right? Repetition is the mother of brainwashing or learning. But let's continue. She is also the face of your league. Clark has significantly increased fan interest, driven record television ratings, and attracted a new corporate sponsor for the WNBA. Millions of casual fans now tune in to watch her play. Now, how do we say this is just factual? Because the media tells you that everybody tunes in just to watch her play. A lot of people tune in to watch Angel Reese. A lot of people tune in to watch Juju Watkins, who hasn't made the W yet, but she's coming. So you can't say these statements and make these things factual, but because they have the congressional power to say it, it makes it so, right? Now, let's get back into it. Unfortunately, what they too often witness is not simply aggressive competition, but her repeated acts of unnecessary physical hostility and violence. Now, this is what's crazy. Clark has been hip checked, poked in the eye, and struck in the throat during the game. That's that Alyssa Thomas play. Right? So they can, this is why they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. I would say 1,000 different words. Because that's why I said earlier, remember when I said that Sophie Cunningham struck DiJonai Carrington? So she made contact. Now, if you watch the Alyssa Thomas play, they had to actually go back and suspend her because of the public outcry, the white political outcry. It was a regular basketball play until social media, until they started repeating, and then until it was just, oh, she's being unfairly targeted. But what are we talking about on this line? DiJonai Carrington is white, right? White privilege, right? Only Caitlin Clark has a congressional letter about basketball play. Because what they want to impress upon your mind that these black brutal savages are assaulting her. And what I want you to pay attention to is the wording in this letter, the villainization. Right? Now, let me do it again. Clark has been hip checked, poked in the eye, and struck in the throat during games. These incidences go far beyond routine physical play. Yet WNBA officiating and its WNBA and its officiating have too often failed to address these unacceptable incidences and hold players accountable. Recently, a player even appeared to endorse violence against Clark in a social media post, further fueling concerns about the culture surrounding these incidences. In addition, concerning reports suggest that many of these attacks against Caitlin Clark may be racially motivated. But when DiJonai Carrington says white privilege, oh, she's race baiting the raccoons and the house Negroes. Oh, DiJonai Carrington, and y'all putting out this bogus information about her. That's y'all so boogie. But Emmanuel Acho, this is what she's talking about. In case you don't understand, buddy, I'm gonna talk to you in your wannabe. I'm gonna talk to you in your wannabe white language, Bucko. White folks love to call you Bucko. This is what she's talking about, Emmanuel Acho. This is what she's talking about, beige guy on Emmanuel Acho's show. The white privilege. It's not just that one isolated incident that y'all want to balloon and make it about. It's this. It's something else that I have in the bag. So how can they say it's racially motivated when there are other white girls in the league? They're acting like Caitlin Clark is the only white girl in this league. If she was Ruby Bridges, that's racially motivation. Not this girl playing in the WNBA. We've had plenty of them. We've had Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, Lauren Jackson, Rebecca Lobo, who bootlicks, Penny Toler. We've had plenty of white girls in the WNBA. Why all of a sudden now this is racially motivated? Because they're telling your mind that it's racially motivated. Mighty funny. Before I close this letter out, it's mighty funny with all of these teams, even the expansion teams, even the Portland Fire and the Toronto Tempo. None of this stuff is surrounded any other team but the Indiana Fever. Why? Now, let me finish the letter out. As commissioner, you have an obligation to ensure every player competes in a safe and professional environment both on and off the court. Now, if we're going to say that and to talk about the off the court, then wouldn't we have to bring up Chelsea Gray being called the Nigger? And then they tried to play and say, oh, that was a Paige Beckers fan and it was a gambler. Again, no proof. But they don't need proof. Shouldn't it been when Alyssa Thomas said her and her family were getting threats? Racially motivated threats? Shouldn't that have been also a focal point? As commissioner, you have an obligation to ensure every player competes in a safe and professional environment, both on and off the court, free from violence, discrimination, or retaliation. If discrimination or retaliation is occurring and creating a hostile work environment, the only hostile work environment is the one that they're creating. Hostile work environment, we support any appropriate investigation by the Department of Justice. There's so much going on in America, and this is what they're talking. This is what they want to probe into. The Department of Justice, the Department of Labor, or Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. If true, such conduct could constitute violations of federal civil rights laws. But DiJonai Carrington is crazy. DiJonai Carrington is reaching what she's saying. It is imperative that the WNBA take meaningful action to address this issue. The league has an extraordinary opportunity to inspire the next generation of female athletes to pursue athletics, but the opportunity is undermined when its brightest stars are not adequately protected. Your fans deserve better, I'll say. And so do young girls who look to the WNBA as a model for excellence, sportsmanship, and opportunity. Close letter. So, since it's not a double standard, since it's not white privilege, show me a commissioner writing a letter like that on the behalf of any black player. Emmanuel Acho, beige guy on his show. Show me that, Emmanuel Acho. Since you're pretending, but see, that guy telling you he'll put you in a tree probably scared you back into your Negroness. And it's cowardice. It's cowardice by you guys. It's cowardice by you black males. And like I said, you guys that's on YouTube making videos and making these clickbaits and demonizing black women, it's shameful. All right, so we address that. Now, did that pretty much cover privilege? Privilege, again, the definition of privilege. And privilege is a special right, advantage, or immunity given to a specific person. Is that not what I just read? Or a group. It is a benefit that is not available to everyone else. Or you would have to show me Congress getting behind black players. Or an Asian player. The word comes from Latin words meaning a private law for one person. Is that not what I just read? Privilege. But y'all want to act like DiJonai Carrington because what it is, they give you word association. I've told y'all several times. Images are advertisements for the mind. So what they want to capture and put in your mind is black hostility. Because they started off early when they said these girls are jealous. Why would you be jealous? A lot of these women that play in the league are national champions. Multi-time national champions. Why would they be jealous of a girl that has never won anything? What they don't appreciate, that's a different word. What they don't appreciate is this basic Becky being given these rights and called the face of the franchise when she hasn't done anything worthy. Right? Now, let me keep going. Oh, I mentioned Stephen A. Smith. Let me get to him. Let me get to Stephen A. Smith.
When you got the attorney, but you know things have devolved. When you got the Attorney General for the state of Florida saying that's why WNBA games ain't here because guess what? We are the prosecutor. Attorney General James Uthmeyer, the WNBA knows better than to play games down here in Florida because I'll be charging people with assault. I should probably clarify assault and battery. That is from the Attorney General of the state of Florida. Let me be very, very clear in saying this. I am not a fan of his. I am not a fan of his. This is the same man that sent the subpoena to the NBA, to the National Football League, over the Rooney Rule. But you know things have devolved.
Hold on, let's play it one more
But
time.
you know things have devolved. When you got the Attorney General for the state of Florida saying that's why WNBA games ain't here because guess what? We are the prosecutor. Attorney General James Uthmeyer, the WNBA knows better than to play games down here in Florida because I'll be charging people with assault. I should probably clarify assault and battery. That is from the Attorney General of the state of Florida.
Assault and battery. So they're taking DiJonai Carrington's play and saying, because that's what this is. And that's what you Negroes are helping you raccoons to criminalize, to give validity and say, yes, this is black aggression. DiJonai Carrington, she could have taken her life. But wait a minute. When Sophie Cunningham did it to J.C. Sheldon, it was just a regular double ejection. So when Sophie Cunningham made contact with DiJonai Carrington, why wasn't she ejected? Is that what DiJonai was talking about? Let me go to y'all Golden Goose, the face of the league. When Caitlin Clark put the exact same, almost identical foul on the Atlanta Dreams, Jordan Canada, it was nothing. Nobody was talking about that right there. And let me read it to you. Let me read it to you for mine. Florida Attorney General James Uthmeyer threatened to file criminal assault and battery charges against WNBA players after a hard court file warning the league on social media that it knows better to play games down here in Florida. Now, the incident and the threat. Why did he say that? Chicago Sky guard DiJonai Carrington received a flagrant foul and an ejection for a hard contact play against the Indiana Fever's guard, Sophie Cunningham. What did I say privilege was? And an advantage for one player or a certain one. But y'all acting like DiJonai Carrington is crazy. Because what they trying to do, they want to please their master. Master, is it good enough? Isaac Manuel, he didn't even bother to say your name correctly. Acho, he called you Acho. Emmanuel Acho. Fucking blacks, think the blacks run the league? So we've heard from Congress saying that it's racially motivated. Then we've heard from the Florida Attorney General threatening to file criminal assault and battery charges against basketball players on the court. That's like filing assault charges on UFC fighters in the octagon. But y'all playing on DiJonai top. She ain't stupid. Because Sophie Cunningham, or Herbie Cunningham, her admission, not mine, is a basic Becky. She's more known for that little long finger and pointing. But when she filed back to J.C. Sheldon, you know what she got? A lot of followers. She gained popularity for hard filing another player. Nobody talked about filing criminal charges against Sophie Cunningham. And in closing, why I think Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham are not good people. This is why I think they're not good people. Because they know that this is just basketball play. And they are allowing all of this to happen because white privilege benefits them. It makes Sophie Cunningham look better than she is. It makes Caitlin look better than what she is. They know exactly what happened, and they're not stupid. They're not stupid, young ladies. They know exactly what's happening, and they will let it happen. See, they're the type of white girls that will watch lynchings happen and will know it's wrong. But because it benefits them, they'll just be silent. Yeah. But that's bull. Stephanie White is fed up with it. Stephanie White is tired of that. Stephanie White is tired of the bull. And they're gaslighting her, making it seem like she's going mad. She can't coach her team because of this, because of all of this outside distraction, because they're taking basketball plays and turning it into something criminal. This is the 30th year of the WNBA. So this play has been happening for 30 years. And all of a sudden, when this one white girl arrives, everything must stop. Caitlin, and she lied? She lied against Kia Stokes. Because she sold the foul. I've told you, she's weaponizing her whiteness. She weaponized her whiteness against her. And then she got in the media and complained, you got to call that. The refs can't miss that. It hurts. Now I got to play with a contusion. They will lie and get you put up against a tree. All because it'll benefit their white ego or their white fragility. But that's my spiel. I wanted to come share this and say, y'all got DiJonai Carrington effed up. And what bothers me is that these dudes because Shady McCoy, and I'm not a Shady McCoy fan, but Shady McCoy, out of all of those ones on this tape, he was at least trying to make it make sense. And you got goofies in the comments saying, oh, she ain't gonna let you hit. Because he's telling it from a different perspective, it always means you're trying to cape. So let lies be told on her. Let a narrative be told on her. Don't come to her defense. She's not gonna let you hit. Y'all are so simple-minded. And this is why the WNBA is being destroyed. And she said what she said. Peace.